For years, coaches and players have voiced concerns about the growing intensity and physicality of the league. The WNBA has evolved rapidly, with athletes becoming stronger, faster, and more competitive than ever before. But many argue that officiating standards have not kept pace. Critics say games often cross the line from competitive to overly physical, creating an environment where injuries are more likely. Friday night's matchup seemed to prove their point. The playoff series had already been described as chippy, but by Game 3, it turned into what some called a demolition derby. Collier's injury now feels like the outcome many insiders feared, an elite player sidelined because the league didn't address warnings sooner. Coach Cheryl Reeve didn't hold back her feelings after the game. She blasted the league's leadership for assigning that particular officiating crew to such a critical semifinal matchup, calling it malpractice. While her words were strong, they reflected the frustration of many across the WNBA community. Reeve argued that poor officiating not only impacts fairness, but also threatens player safety, which should be a top priority. Her emotional reaction underscored the stakes. When a superstar like Napheesa Collier suffers a potentially season-ending injury, it doesn't just hurt her team, it hurts the league's product, the fan experience, and the growth of women's basketball overall. The bigger issue here goes beyond one game or one player. The WNBA has been working hard to build its brand, attract larger audiences, and showcase the incredible talent of its athletes. But when high-profile players are injured in games marred by questionable officiating, the league's reputation takes a hit. Fans tune in to watch skill, strategy, and excitement, not chaotic, overly physical clashes that risk sidelining stars. Collier's absence would be a major blow to the Lynx, who rely heavily on her leadership and production, but it's also a wake-up call for the WNBA itself. If adjustments aren't made soon, more players could face similar risks. So where does the league go from here? Some are calling for better training and accountability for referees, while others suggest a broader review of how the game is officiated in the modern WNBA. The goal isn't to eliminate physicality. It's part of what makes basketball thrilling, but to ensure that games are safe, balanced, and allow talent to shine. For Napheesa Collier, the hope is for a full and speedy recovery, as her presence is vital not just for Minnesota, but for the league as a whole. And for the WNBA, this moment may serve as a turning point, forcing leaders to listen to the voices of players and coaches who have long demanded change. Because at the end of the day, protecting the athletes means protecting the future of the game. What happens when one of the brightest stars in the WNBA goes down with a serious injury during one of the biggest playoff games of the season? That's exactly the question fans and analysts are asking after Minnesota Lynx All-Star Napheesa Collier left Game 3 against the Phoenix Mercury in visible pain. Collier, who is finished as runner-up for MVP in back-to-back seasons, is reported to probably have a fracture. Following a hard collision with Alyssa Thomas late in the game, the scene was emotional. Collier limped off the court in tears, while her coach Cheryl Reeve had to be restrained before being ejected in frustration. This wasn't just a tough moment for one player. It sparked a bigger conversation about the state of officiating and physical play in the WNBA.